Oh.
Hello, Heather Jean here, and I am joined by wonderful Ruth Alade, who you will know from being in the Confidence to Cabaret community and also from the podcast episode. Welcome, welcome, Ruth. I always love having you here. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Heather.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, because I haven't really seen you.
I know. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. It's funny, isn't it? How, like I see you all the time online and, like I feel like we're always connecting, but of course we're not because we're doing live separately and so on. But today, and I'm so excited for this because it's starting soon, we are talking about how to sell your coaching programs without being pushy.
Yes, we are.
So this is your topic, Ruth. This is your expertise. Tell
It
us a
is.
little bit about that. Like, where does that expertise come from, and how
Yeah.
did you got here?
Yeah, it actually came from all my years of doing um, direct selling. So I used to do, I used to sell like pots and pans, like really expensive ones. Like these pots and pans cost like, 3,000, 4,000 pounds for a set. So yeah, so you can imagine how difficult that was to like sell them. So yeah, so throughout that whole process, I had a lot of no's. I had people slam their doors in my face. I had all sorts, but I also had some people say yes, right? And throughout that whole process, I just learned, some of the things that makes people buy, and um, what I also learned were the things I didn't like about selling, because it was more of a masculine world. So it was all about like, following the script and saying certain things to like, twist people's arms so they could buy. So I didn't really like all of that. So when I came into coaching, I decided to like do it my own way. The way that I felt was from the heart and wasn't just concerned about making a sale, but rather helping people to really make whatever choice they make, whether it's to buy or not to buy, but to make it from an empowered place. And yeah, so that's a short story of of how I got here.
Wow. And I love that you've turned that into, not going just with your own product that you're selling, but enabling others to be able to sell as well. I think that's
Yeah,
really beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah, and I'm a fan because I admire how how your mindset and how your beliefs align, and
Mm.
I really love that you show up and you're visible and you do the thing, and it's just such a fabulous energy. So I'm really excited because you have a new program out, don't you?
I do, yes, yes, yes. It's called Sell with Certainty, and it's basically like a crash course over 3 days that I run every year. So I run it about three times a year, and it's basically to like help people who are wanting to like to show up in a powerful way so they can sell their coaching programs, because one of the things that is so crucial when it comes to selling, it is not just about showing up, and it is not just about how and even when you do get on like sales conversations, it is not just about saying the right words. It's more about who we are being when we show up, and also when we're having those conversations. So in this course, what I'm doing is I'm taking people through the whole process. It's over 3 days, and basically what I teach my one-on-one clients, over 3 months. So obviously it's really really packed, very very, yeah. But I've had people that have taken this course like create some great results just by doing it. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. And I'm super excited for it. I'm in the group.
You are,
I'm in
yes.
the group, and it's funny because one of the things that I love, and it is so many things are aligned, but one of the things that I love is that when you approach this, you are very clear of the expectations. And I've
Mm,
been guilty of joining challenges myself and then either not doing the work or not even showing up at all, which I feel
yeah,
bad about, but I'm overcommitted and I wasn't honest with myself and lots of things. And you're really clear, like, here's the deal, do the work or go, and
yeah,
it's the nicest, most respectful possible way. This might not be the right time for you or whatever it is, but it means that you have that program that has momentum with people who are committed to action, and I love
absolutely,
that I absolutely love
absolutely.
that. And I find that a lot of times, we've done lots of challenges in Confidence to Cabaret community, and people kind of dip in and out, and and it's almost like tourists instead of real learners is how I describe it.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, I never used to do that, like, a couple of years ago, but I realized that, people come in and they just watch from the sidelines. They don't really do anything. And I believe in like creating a space where everyone's taking part, and that way we all support each other. But when people aren't doing the work or aren't showing up, then the whole space becomes a bit wishy-washy. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm like really clear that, if you want to benefit from this, then show up for yourself. And it's also an opportunity to start breaking the cycles, because sometimes we have these cycles where we sign up for things, whether it's free or paid, and we don't really show up. So I kind of see it as an opportunity to you know to start breaking those patterns and the cycles.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I love about what you just said to us is that, when we show up as our whole self, then
Mm,
there's less likely to be a barrier. I mean, that's where my confidence and visibility programs all focus, is that bit
yeah.
about, and in my case, it's about if you don't feel good in your body, if you don't accept yourself as you are, then there's already a barrier between you and your clients or potential clients. And they
Yeah.
don't know what that is. They don't know what's going on, but they know that there's something not quite right or not congruent. And it doesn't help with building trust, especially when we need to build trust quite quickly. And I know that that's a key part of your message, that you've been sharing with us. So what are the key things around selling your coaching programs without being pushy? Like how do you do it without being
Yeah.
pushy or slimy? Like, I know you're not slimy either. Like, that's
Yeah. Yeah. So it all starts with the way that we think about. I just need to turn up this heater. It's burning me now.
no.
My portable heater was kind of too hot and was starting to like burn me. But anyway, that's turned off now. Yeah. So it all starts with the way that we think about sales. And one of the things that I believe that really, really helps, that I've seen that really, really supports my clients is even getting rid of that thought that I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be slimy, because the more you avoid it, then the more you are being that that thing that you're saying that you don't want to be.
Okay. Okay. So you just get rid of it altogether.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
how do you do that though? Because if I'm thinking, I don't want to be pushy, but I'm not supposed to say I don't want to be pushy. So then what do I do?
Yeah. So it is all about focusing on the way that you're thinking about sales, right? So if you're always thinking about sales as it's something pushy, something that I don't like, right? So how can you start to reframe that thoughts? Those thoughts that you're currently having that isn't serving you. So for example, like one of my favorite lines that I constantly focus on is that sales is love. Sales is inspiring another human being to take action towards their goals and dreams. So I don't see sales as slimy. I don't see sales as pushy anymore, right? Because I'm constantly focusing on sales being something that is an act of love to help somebody to move towards what they want.
I love that. I do. I love that. And I listen to your videos all the time, your lives all the time. So I am familiar with that. I need to get that ingrained into my head better.
It
Um
takes practice.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a I don't do a pushy thing. I'm at a stage now where I just kind of go, if this isn't for you or this isn't for you right now, that's cool. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be. But I know that, even a couple of years ago, I would have struggled with that. And I would have
Yeah.
had a fear of failure and a fear of rejection. And those are
Those are
tough.
big pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very tough. Yeah. So, so what will your program include?
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the so let me put it this way, right? Because you can be really good at sales, but if you don't have leads, then you don't really have a business. So I am going to be sharing like one or two very simple ways that people can start to use now to start finding leads around them. Sometimes people think like, I don't have any leads, I don't know where they are, but what I'm going to show you and everyone in this course is that in most cases that's not true. What is really missing is that a lot of people don't have the boldness and the courage to actually go after the leads that they do have, or they are not even noticing them. They're overlooking them.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's until you know what to look for, then you wouldn't even know that you'd missed them or you'd left cash on the table.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And like one thing that I noticed from everyone that was answering the questions before joining their group, like one of their biggest problems apart from sales in itself is actually finding leads. Like almost everyone was like, leads, where do I find leads? I don't know where they are. So that's going to be one of the things that we cover in this crash course. And then we're also going to go through look at the whole sales cycle, and also how to show up in a powerful way, so that when you talk to people, when you're showing up on Facebook, when you're you know engaging with a people, you're coming from a place of certainty. Without certainty, it's really, 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 really difficult and challenging for people to actually trust that you can help them. And I think that's one of the key things that's also missing from a lot of people's process. They're so focused on like doing. They're doing all the things, but they're not coming from a place of certainty. They're not fully owning what they do, right? So we're gonna look at that too. I can see you smiling.
I'm excited because that's my bag. Like that, I can do that part, and I'm okay with that part. Um, but I have so much to learn from you around the selling, because it is different to be
Yeah,
selling in a virtual audience where
it is.
it's the same with when I'm training in front of a live conference. I'm a different person, but then to be not being able to connect with that energy in the same way, it is a different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And sometimes we can use the internet as kind of almost a barrier. It
Mhm.
already is a barrier, but then we can use it to hide. And the example I'm thinking of is all of the groups which are lovely, wonderful, and well-intending groups, but they're all about like drop your links, and people are just dropping their links, and it's like, but nobody's showing up as visible. I mean, not
Yeah,
even a photograph.
yeah.
Which is why I always say to people, and this group isn't for everybody, because I always say to people, look, I would love it if you want to, if you want to raise your confidence, come on live. If you want to, tell us about what you're doing, come on live. If you want to share your story, come on live. If you want, to
Mm,
meet people, but come on live, even if it's a scary
yes,
proposition, because you have to show up, right? Otherwise,
absolutely.
you're not going to be able to have a business, or you're not going to be able to grow your visibility and your confidence, and that's a whole journey.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Francis Mary. Hey, Geneva, watching. I know Francis Mary and I've had lots of conversations about promoting yourself as well. And I think when it comes to self promotion, how do you approach it, either in your mindset or in the steps that you take?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a great, great question. And I think one of the things to understand first is that when we're thinking about, because like people say like all the time, like, I really want to sell myself. I am struggling to sell myself. But here's the way I like to think about it. I like to think about it as not putting the focus on me, because when I have that in my mind that I'm trying to sell myself, like that's so much pressure, right? It's just too much. So I kind of like, flip it round. I'm like, how can I show up for the people who need me? How can I serve them? What do they need to hear from me? Right. And that then puts the focus on them and not on me. And for me, that like reduces the pressure of having to show up in a certain way.
I
Is that making
love that.
sense?
I that that I love that so much,
Yeah,
because how we talk to ourselves is so important, right? And so if we're
absolutely.
talking about I want to serve them, then assuming that's true and
Yeah,
genuine, then that's me thinking about you and not
yeah,
thinking about what I'm going to say or what I'm going to be
exactly.
doing. Yeah,
Exactly.
I've run presentation skills courses for a number of decades, not going to say how many. And um and I always used to say that to people about, are you thinking about your audience? Because if you're thinking about you, then that's what's going to come across, and you're not going to be able to connect. And when you're talking in corporate presentations, you're usually talking about some sort of business case or trying to get money or whatever. It's not
Mhm,
really different. It's
mhm,
just that when we're online, we're in our own room. I'm in my space, you're in your space, and
mhm,
it just in sometimes in my head, even though I really know and believe what you've just said, it seems
mhm.
different because it's me and the little green light.
Yes. Absolutely.
So how can people join you and me? Because I'm excited, but it's more
Yeah.
about you. But it is all about you. What? How can people join you on the program?
Yeah, so I will share a link right now. Can I put it into into the chat box? Would that work?
Yes, if you put it into the chat box, and then I could put it into the Facebook group. If you put it into the chat box, I'll put it up as a banner, and then I'll put it into the group as well, because I'd love for other people
Right.
to be joining as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, yeah. Should I do that now, or should we do it later?
actually, just drop it into the notes. But is there a short answer to that about selling with certainty? We
Is it what,
join.
sorry?
Is there a short answer? Do we join your group?
It's yes. Oh, yes, yes. I was just gonna share the link. Yes, it's actually a page. It's bit.ly / sell dash with dash certainty 5. So it's a bit of a long link. So you do need to like just click on
Okay.
it, and
All right.
then it'll take you straight to the page, and then just read it up. And then if you feel that you are here for it, you're gonna be able to either watch the replays or show up live and do the daily tasks, then yes, come on board. It is a free session. However, if you feel like you're not going to have the time, then it's probably not the right time. You can join at maybe later on during the year when I do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because you have to be able to know that you're committed to doing something to make it fair for everybody, and to be the right kind of energy in that group.
Yes.
So so do join if it serves you. I'll put it. I'll make sure that it's in here. Also, Ruth is in the community, so you can always send a message to Ruth that way, or Ruth Alade is everywhere online. It's fabulous. Um, so, okay. So I just wanted to just kind of come back to this without being pushy.
Yep.
How
Go
do
on.
you know if you're being pushy?
I think it is when I used to go through that phase, right? I used to feel like I would like it wasn't really about me knowing that I was being pushy, but it was more about the fear of what they were thinking. It was more about the fear of, if I ask this question, they're gonna think like I am being pushy, right? Or
Yeah.
for example, when it comes to the end, and they say they don't have the money, or they want to think about it, or they want to speak to their cat, right? Instead of going a bit deeper to actually find out what the real truth is, right? I would just immediately just shut down, because I felt like if I went a step further, or a few steps further, like they would think like this girl's being pushy, and that would make me feel bad, and I just end the call out of fear and just run away. So I
Yeah.
think it is more about what we're thinking about them. So thinking that they're gonna think that we're being pushy. I think
Okay.
that's one of the main things that really gets people, and kind of ruins that whole ruins the way that they show up.
Right. And so, unlike with selling pots and pans door to door, where you don't know who's going to be behind that door, if
Yeah.
you have the ideal audience and
Yes.
then you're pitching to them, then it's going to be a lot clearer as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's my next question then, is how do you know when it's time to go, okay, they don't want to do this,
Yeah.
so I need to let that go.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how going through the whole process, it's important to be clear with yourself that you have done everything that you can do, that you have been very curious, you've asked all the questions that you need to ask. One thing that I see with my clients is that they're not curious enough, right? They are not willing to be uncomfortable. They are not willing to sit in that discomfort, right? So they kind of back out.
Okay.
But how you know when it is time to go is when you're honest with yourself, that you've done everything that you can do, that you've asked all the questions, that you've been curious, that you've been willing to, that you've actually sat in that space of discomfort, right? And then if they still don't want to do it, then it's time to go. It's time to leave it, because you can't want it more than they do, right? The minute
I love that you just said that.
yeah, you really can't. And the minute you sense that they don't want it, not just by the words that they say, right? Like there's an energetic flow here, because someone can say that I don't have the money, but that's not the truth, right? So we have to be willing to go a step further and a step further. And even though it's uncomfortable, not just for you and that person, right? Be willing to sit there with them, and you will get to the truth when you're willing to sit there with them. And that truth could be that this is not the right thing for them, right? And it could also be that, yes, this is it. I really want this, but it's been fear holding me back. And that's where we need to put on our coaching hats and coach them through that fear. It's not
Beautiful.
comfortable, but it's it is the way to to help them cross that bridge of fear.
I love that. I love that very much because everything that you've said here
Yeah.
is about them, right? It's about how are they feeling, how are they receiving it, how are they, what do they need, you
Mm,
know, and so it's all about them, and that takes a huge amount of pressure off of us in our being. But
yeah.
it is that is the point, right? It's not
Mhm.
about you need to sell your pots and pans. It's about do they want your pots and pans or need them or whatever it is, you know.
Exactly.
We're going to need to talk about what kind of pots and pans are worth 3 grand. But anyway, that's a
Yeah.
separate conversation. But it's that, right? It's not like I need to sell these or I
Yeah.
have a good program or I intend wonderful things for you, even. I mean, it's not always a bad thing to be about I, but as soon as we're making I statements, then that's a whole different thing. And I love that everything you've said has been about, well, think about them, take your lead from them. And I just think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think people can always feel it. Like people can see when you're genuine. They can see when you're fighting for them. They I have had clients like one of my current clients who has been with me for about 18 months now. Like her life has totally transformed. Her business is like just soaring. But when we had the conversation in 2020, I believe August 2020, she was at the point where she's like, Ruth, I don't know where I'm gonna get the money, right? Like she was so scared, she was terrified, and she used like whatever little money she had, she scrambled it and then and then signed up. And like what I really want to share here is that sometimes last year, when we were just looking back over the last couple of months, she was telling me how she's so grateful that I did not let her go when she told me that she didn't have the money. And that really confirmed to me why we need to be willing to fight for them and not listen to our ego. Our ego wants us to like just leave it and then let them go. But if we can sense that there's something here that is fear holding this person back, or whatever it is that's holding them back, and we're willing to walk that space with them, they will come back and actually thank you. Like I have that with my clients, and it makes me so happy.
That's beautiful. That really is beautiful. And
Yeah.
and I know you to be a truly authentic person, and fighting for your clients is
Mm.
something that is just such a beautiful energy to be engaged with. So I thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you for coming on and sharing this. If you have any questions, if you're sort of thinking, yeah, but what about if, or how do I, then drop them into the comments below. And Ruth is around, and I can always forward them to her if because I'm in the community way more than anybody. So do get in touch. I've also dropped the links because I know this is live in several places now. I've dropped the links in all of the um, spaces. So if the challenge is speaking to you, then you can get involved in that. Reach out to Ruth if you want to know more about what she does. Where can people find you, Ruth?
On my Facebook page. So just click my profile image. I think it will show up on your page in your group, and just connect with me, or just DM me.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
sharing this with us. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, ladies, and everybody else that has joined. Thank you.
I will see you soon, Ruth. Thank
All right.
you. Just reminding you guys that it is. Oh, hold on a second. I just wanted to read this comment here. It's so interesting. I almost bought a coaching course, but the leader didn't sell it to me as she didn't address my concerns and every one of my needs. And there was so much she could have done to convince me to buy it, but it didn't feel right.
Mm,
Absolutely great example, right? I'm
yeah.
guilty of that, of leaving money on the table, is what it's called, right? Of just
Yeah.
like, people are almost waiting for you to say, well, do you want to buy it?
Yeah.
And you're waiting for them to say, I want to buy it. And I just wanted to, I love that you've shared that. Thank you so much for sharing that. It is such a good point about,
Yeah.
and it's that balance, and it's that balance between pushing them and then, but also not failing to make the offer, right?
Absolutely. And it takes courage as well. It takes courage to be able to do that.
It does take courage. It does take courage, and it takes confidence.
Yeah.
And we're in the right place.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Ruth. I'm Heather
Yeah,
Jean.
you're
I'm
welcome.
I'm so glad you were here with us. I'm reminding you that it is your body and it is your world and it's your stage. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.